Hello everybody. Welcome to English Podcast for Listening and Speaking, your favorite place to boost your English skills. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Chloe. We are so excited to have you join us today. We've got a really fun and useful topic lined up that I think everyone will be able to relate to.
Absolutely, Chloe. Today, we're stepping right into the heart of the home, a place where so much magic happens, and where we use so many fascinating gadgets every single day. We're talking about kitchen appliances.
That's right. From making your morning coffee to blending a delicious smoothie, or even just toasting some bread, our kitchens are full of incredible tools that make our lives so much easier. And guess what? Learning the English vocabulary for these modern home convenience tools is incredibly practical.
It really is. Think about it. Whether you're talking to a friend about what you cooked last night, explaining how something works to a family member, or even just watching a cooking show in English, having this vocabulary down is super important for everyday conversation.
Exactly. We'll be covering everything from the small but mighty tools to the larger, more essential machines that keep our kitchens running smoothly. And as always, we'll make sure to explain everything clearly, give you plenty of examples, and help you understand how to use these words naturally in your own English conversations.
So, get ready to open your kitchen cabinets with us, because we're about to explore a whole world of useful English vocabulary related to all those fantastic devices. We're going to make sure you're confident talking about everything from blenders to dishwashers.
Let's get cooking with some new English words. We're starting with some small but powerful appliances that many of us use every single day.
All right, Chloe, you mentioned getting cooking, and I think we should start with some real workhorses of the kitchen. Let's talk about the blender first. Many people have one of these, right?
Oh, absolutely, Ethan. A blender is probably one of the most common small kitchen appliances. And it's so versatile. You use a blender to mix or blend food and drinks.
That's the key word, blend. Think about your morning smoothie. You put in fruit, maybe some yogurt, some ice, press a button, and boom. The blender mixes it all up into a smooth drink.
Exactly. So, you can make smoothies, but also soups, sauces, and even baby food with a blender. It makes things smooth. That's its main job.
Now, often people confuse a blender with a juicer. What's the main difference there, Chloe? Because they both work with fruit, right?
That's a great point. While a blender mixes everything together, a juicer is designed to extract just the liquid from fruits and vegetables, leaving the pulp behind.
Ah, so if I want pure orange juice, with no bits of orange in it, I'd use a juicer. But if I want a thick banana and strawberry smoothie, I'd use a blender. Got it.
Precisely. A juicer separates the juice from the fibrous parts. So, for a clear apple juice or carrot juice, you use a juicer. Blenders keep all the fiber in, which is great for nutrition, but a different texture.
Okay. So we've got blending for smoothies and sauces, and juicing for pure fruit and vegetable liquids. What's next on our list of small appliance powerhouses? I'm thinking of something many of us can't start our day without.
You must be thinking of the coffee maker. A true morning hero for millions around the world. A coffee maker, as the name suggests, makes coffee. Simple as that.
And there are so many types, too. Some people have a drip coffee maker, which is probably the most common. You put in water and ground coffee, and it drips hot water through the coffee to make a pot.
Yes, the classic drip coffee maker. But then you also have espresso machines, French presses, pour-over coffee makers. The coffee maker is a general term for any appliance that helps you brew coffee at home. It's an essential appliance for coffee lovers.
I definitely need my coffee maker every morning. It's the first appliance I interact with. Now, what about something that's super useful if you love baking?
Ah, you're talking about a mixer. A mixer is another fantastic appliance, especially if you enjoy making cakes, cookies, or bread. It's a machine with beaters or whisks that you use to mix ingredients together.
So, for example, if I'm making a cake and I need to combine butter and sugar until they're light and fluffy, a mixer does that job perfectly, much faster and more efficiently than doing it by hand with a spoon.
Exactly. It takes the hard work out of stirring, beating, and kneading. There are hand mixers, which are small and you hold them, and then there are stand mixers, which are larger, sit on your counter, and are very powerful. Professional bakers often have big, powerful stand mixers.
So, to recap, we have the blender for making things smooth like smoothies and soups, the juicer for extracting pure liquid from fruits and veggies, the coffee maker for brewing our favorite morning beverage, and the mixer for combining ingredients, especially in baking.
That's a perfect summary, Ethan. These 4 small appliances are truly essential in many modern kitchens. And knowing their names and functions is super helpful for everyday English conversation.
Definitely. And the beauty of these terms is they're pretty straightforward. Blender, juicer, coffee maker, mixer. Their names often give a clue to what they do.
Exactly. They are very functional names. Now that we've covered these small but mighty powerhouses, shall we move on to a few more common kitchen heroes?
Absolutely, Chloe. Let's do it. When I think of common kitchen heroes, one of the first things that comes to mind, especially for breakfast, is the toaster. Most homes have one, right?
Oh, definitely. A toaster is such a straightforward appliance, and yet so essential for many of us. Its job is simple. It's used for toasting bread. You pop in a slice or two, push down the lever, and a few minutes later, you have warm, crispy toast. Perfect for breakfast with some jam or butter.
It's amazing how something so simple can bring so much joy in the morning. And it's a perfect example of an appliance that does one thing really well. No confusion there.
Right. From making toast for breakfast to a quick grilled cheese sandwich, the toaster is a workhorse. It's often one of the first appliances young people get when they move into their own place because it's so fundamental.
Okay, so we've toasted our bread. What's another common appliance that saves a lot of time, especially for people who eat a lot of a certain grain? I'm thinking of something that automatically cooks rice.
Ah, you must be referring to the rice cooker. This is an absolute lifesaver, especially in many Asian and increasingly, Western kitchens. A rice cooker automatically cooks rice with minimal effort. You just put in the rice and the right amount of water, press a button, and it does all the work for you. No watching pots, no stirring, no burnt bottoms.
That sounds incredibly convenient. I know so many people who swear by their rice cooker. It takes all the guesswork out of making perfect rice every time. Before I got one, I always seemed to undercook or overcook my rice on the stove.
Exactly. It's one of those appliances that once you have it, you wonder how you ever lived without it. It keeps the rice warm too, which is a great feature if you're not ready to eat right away. So, it's not just about cooking, it's about convenience and consistent results.
So, we've got toasters for bread and rice cookers for, well, rice. What about something that focuses on healthy cooking? I'm thinking about a method that uses steam.
Excellent point, Ethan. That would be a steamer. A steamer is an appliance that cooks food using steam. It's fantastic for things like vegetables, fish, and even dumplings. And it's widely considered a very healthy cooking method because it preserves nutrients and doesn't require any oil or fat.
That's really important for healthy eating. When you boil vegetables, sometimes the vitamins can leach into the water. But with steaming, they stay right in the food. So, you get more nutrients and often, a better texture.
Precisely. Steamed veggies are often brighter in color and have a crisp, tender texture, which is lovely. You can get simple basket steamers that go into a pot on your stove, or you can have electric steamers, which are standalone appliances with multiple tiers, so you can steam different foods at the same time.
Oh, like you could steam some broccoli on the bottom and some fish on top. That's super efficient.
Exactly. It makes meal prep really easy. So, between the toaster, the rice cooker, and the steamer, we've covered some really common, incredibly useful appliances that are found in kitchens all over the world, each with its specific function that helps us in our daily lives.
And each of them helps us save time, eat healthier, or just make our lives a little bit easier in the kitchen. They really are heroes.
They absolutely are. It's fascinating how these simple machines become so integrated into our routines.
They absolutely are. It's fascinating how these simple machines become so integrated into our routines. But speaking of integration, Chloe, we've talked about these smaller, countertop appliances, but what about the really big ones? The ones that are often built into the kitchen?
That's a great segue, Ethan. We're talking about the heavy hitters now, the appliances that really define a kitchen's functionality. And the most fundamental, the heart of almost any kitchen, would have to be the stove and oven.
Exactly. These two are often combined into one unit, especially in many homes, but they have distinct functions. Can you break that down for us?
Of course. The stove, sometimes called the stovetop or range top, is the part with burners on top where you cook in pots and pans. This is where you boil water, sauté vegetables, or make sauces. It's for cooking on top. The oven, on the other hand, is the enclosed space below or next to the stove. This is where you bake things like cakes and cookies, or roast meats and vegetables. It's for cooking inside, with dry heat.
So, the stove is for cooking on top and the oven is for baking or roasting inside. That's a clear distinction, and I think it's fair to say that nearly every kitchen in the world, regardless of size or region, has some form of a stove and oven, right? They're pretty universal for cooking.
Absolutely. They are the foundational pieces of equipment for preparing most meals. Whether it's a gas stove, an electric stove, or even an induction cooktop, the principle is the same. And ovens are indispensable for so many types of cuisine.
From these universal essentials, let's move to something that's becoming increasingly common in many parts of the world, especially for busy households, but maybe not quite as universal as the stove and oven. I'm thinking of something that handles a chore many people dislike.
Ah, you must mean the dishwasher. The dishwasher is an appliance used for washing dishes automatically. It's a real-time saver. Instead of standing at the sink scrubbing plates, you just load them into the dishwasher, add some detergent, and press a button. It cleans and often dries them for you.
Oh, the pure joy of not having to do dishes by hand after a big meal. It's truly a marvel of modern convenience. For many people, it's not just about convenience, it's about efficiency. Using a dishwasher can actually use less water than washing by hand, surprisingly.
That's right. Modern dishwashers are designed to be very water and energy efficient. They are definitely a fixture in many homes, particularly in places like North America and parts of Europe.
That's an interesting point about their prevalence, which we'll actually dive into a bit more in our next segment. But before we do, there's one more appliance, a less common one, that is pretty specific to certain regions, like North America. It's designed to help with waste management.
I know exactly what you're thinking of, Ethan, the trash compactor. This is an appliance that compresses garbage, making it take up less space. So, if you have a lot of trash, instead of taking out multiple bags, you put it in the compactor, and it squishes it down into a much smaller, denser bundle.
It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, squishing all your trash into a tiny block. I imagine it would be incredibly useful for reducing the number of times you have to take out the garbage, especially if you have a big family or produce a lot of waste.
That's precisely its main benefit. It helps save space in your garbage bins and means fewer trips to the curb or dumpster. While not as common as a dishwasher or a stove, it definitely serves a unique purpose in certain households, particularly in North America where kitchen sizes might be larger and waste disposal habits differ.
So, we've gone from the core cooking appliances like the stove and oven, which are everywhere, to convenience items like the dishwasher, which is common in many places, to the very specific trash compactor. Each one serving a unique role in making our kitchens more functional.
Exactly, and understanding these appliances, their names, and what they do, is a fantastic step in building your English vocabulary for everyday life, especially when talking about your home and daily routines.
You know, Chloe, earlier you mentioned that dishwashers are a fixture in North America and parts of Europe, and I brought up how trash compactors are pretty specific to regions like North America. That distinction is really interesting, and it leads us perfectly into discussing some cultural insights about kitchen appliances. Why do you think some appliances are more common in certain parts of the world than others?
That's a great question, Ethan, and it really comes down to a few key factors: kitchen size, cooking habits, and even cultural approaches to daily chores. Let's start with kitchen size. In many countries outside the US, especially in older cities or more densely populated areas, homes and apartments often have much smaller kitchens.
That makes a lot of sense. If your kitchen is only big enough for the absolute essentials, a stove, an oven, and maybe a small fridge, then there simply isn't physical space for a large appliance like a dishwasher or a trash compactor. Every square foot counts.
Exactly. Imagine a compact kitchen where you barely have counter space. Adding a bulky dishwasher would mean sacrificing precious storage or preparation areas. So, for many, hand-washing dishes isn't just a preference, it's a practical necessity due to space limitations. And a trash compactor would be almost unheard of in such a setting.
And then there are cooking habits and styles, which I think play a huge role too. In many cultures, there's a strong emphasis on cooking with fresh ingredients, often using fewer pre-packaged items that generate a lot of waste.
That's very true. If you're buying fresh vegetables, meat, and grains daily, and cooking everything from scratch, you might not have the same volume of packaging waste that would necessitate a trash compactor. You might produce more organic waste, like vegetable peels, but that's often composted or disposed of differently.
And related to that, perhaps the types of dishes being used in daily cooking also influence the need for a dishwasher. If you're often eating simpler meals, or perhaps you have fewer people in your household, then washing dishes by hand might not feel like such a chore compared to loading a dishwasher.
Precisely. For example, in many Asian cultures, meals often consist of several small dishes served in bowls, which are quick and easy to rinse by hand. And if you're eating out more frequently, or cooking smaller, simpler meals, you simply might not accumulate enough dirty dishes to warrant running a dishwasher every day.
So, it's not just about what appliances are available, but also what fits the lifestyle, the space, and the cultural approach to food preparation and waste management. It's fascinating how our homes and habits are shaped by these underlying factors.
Absolutely. The idea of a trash compactor, for instance, is quite foreign to many outside of North America. Most countries have different waste collection systems, and compacting trash at home isn't typically part of that process. People are more accustomed to sorting their recyclables and throwing out smaller bags of non-recyclable waste more frequently.
So, we can see that while a stove and oven are universal because cooking is universal, appliances like dishwashers and especially trash compactors are more niche, reflecting specific needs and conditions in different parts of the world.
It just shows how vocabulary about home appliances isn't just about naming objects, but also understanding the cultural context in which they are used. It gives you a deeper insight into daily life in various places.
It certainly does. It's like peeking into someone's kitchen and understanding their whole routine just by looking at the appliances they have, or don't have. Speaking of routines and peeking into kitchens, let's shift gears a little and talk about some action verbs we use when we're interacting with these appliances or talking about our kitchens. These are super useful for everyday English.
Great idea, Ethan. It's one thing to know the names of appliances, but it's another to actually use verbs to describe what we do with them or in the kitchen. Let's start with lend.
Lend. Now, this verb is generally about giving something to someone for a short time, expecting it back. How does that connect to a kitchen?
Well, imagine you're baking, and you suddenly realize you don't have a mixer. You might call a friend and say, "Could you possibly lend me your mixer for the afternoon? I promise to return it by dinner." Or maybe your neighbor needs a specific kitchen tool, like a stand mixer for a big baking project. You could say, "I'm happy to lend you my mixer, just bring it back tomorrow."
Ah, I see. So it's about temporarily sharing kitchen tools or appliances. Or maybe even ingredients. Hey, do you have some extra flour? Can you lend me a cup until I go to the store? That's a very common usage.
Exactly. It's a very practical word for everyday life, especially if you have good relationships with your neighbors or friends.
Alright, next up we have compact. We just discussed trash compactors, so this one ties in perfectly.
It does. Compact means to press something together to make it smaller or denser. So, a trash compactor helps us compact our garbage. You can say, "The trash compactor really helps me compact my waste, so I don't have to take out the trash as often."
Or if you don't have a compactor, you might manually compact things. Like, I need to compact these empty cereal boxes to make more space in the recycling bin. You're just pushing them down to reduce their volume.
Yes, you're literally making something more compact. It's about saving space, which is so important in a kitchen, whether it's your trash or your pantry items.
Perfect. And for our third verb, let's talk about refurnish. This one might be a bit bigger picture than just one appliance.
Absolutely. Refurnish means to replace or update the furniture and fixtures in a room, often giving it a whole new look. So, if you decide your kitchen needs a complete makeover, you might say, "We're planning to refurnish our kitchen next year. We want new cabinets and maybe a bigger island."
That sounds like a big project. So you're not just buying a new toaster, you're completely changing the feel of the room. You might refurnish your kitchen with a new stove, oven, and maybe even a dishwasher if you're adding space.
Exactly. It's about giving the room a fresh start. You might say, "After we refurnish the kitchen, I'm going to buy a new, more powerful blender to make all my smoothies." Or, "I can't wait to refurnish the kitchen so I have more counter space for chopping veggies."
Bringing in those everyday vocabulary words. So, when you refurnish, you might be thinking about how the new layout or appliances will help you prepare those smoothies and chop those veggies more easily.
That's the dream. A beautifully refurnished kitchen where making healthy meals is a breeze. So, to recap those verbs. Lend, for sharing items, compact, for making things smaller, and refurnish, for updating a whole room. These verbs are really useful for describing actions related to your home and kitchen.
They certainly are, and they show how English vocabulary isn't just about nouns for objects, but also the dynamic actions we perform with them or in relation to them. Now, let's do a quick recap of some of the key kitchen appliance words we've covered today, and maybe you can repeat them after us for pronunciation practice.
Excellent idea, Ethan. This is so important for building confidence. All right, listeners, get ready to repeat. Our first word is a common one. Blender. Say it with us. Blender.
Great. A blender is for mixing or blending, like making those delicious smoothies we talked about. Next up, juicer. Repeat after me. Juicer.
Perfect. A juicer, remember, is specifically for extracting juice from fruits and vegetables. Now, how about this one? Mixer. Go ahead. Mixer.
Fantastic. A mixer, with its beaters, is your best friend for baking. Think cakes and cookies. Moving on to something for breakfast. Toaster. Your turn. Toaster.
You got it. A toaster is what gives your bread that perfect golden crunch. And for our last appliance review word, dishwasher. Say it loud and clear. Dishwasher.
Excellent. That's the machine that washes your dishes automatically. So, those are our key appliance words. Now, let's quickly review those useful verbs and everyday nouns we just discussed, and put them into some practice sentences.
Let's do it. First, remember, lend. It means to give something temporarily. Try this sentence. Can you lend me your coffee maker? Mine just broke.
Good one. And for compact, which means to press together to make smaller. Think about this. I need to compact these empty plastic bottles before putting them in the recycling bin.
Nice. And then we had refurnish, meaning to update furniture and fixtures in a room. Here's a sentence. We plan to refurnish our kitchen next year to make more space for a bigger stove.
Sounds like a dream. Now, let's use those everyday nouns, veggies, and smoothies. How about, I love making green smoothies with lots of fresh veggies in my new blender.
That's a perfect example, Ethan. You've used blender, smoothies, and veggies all in one go. That's exactly what we want our listeners to be doing.
Absolutely. And that brings us to our kitchen challenge for all of you listening.
Your challenge is to go into your own kitchen today, look around, and try to identify as many appliances as you can using the English names we discussed. Try to describe what they do using some of the verbs we've practiced, like makes coffee, toasts bread, or blends smoothies.
Even better, try to create a few sentences about your own kitchen using lend, compact, or refurnish. Maybe you can say, I really need to refurnish my kitchen, it's so old, or my trash can needs a compacting appliance.
The more you practice, the more these words will become a natural part of your everyday English.
That's all the time we have for today's episode of English Podcast for Listening and Speaking. We hope you had fun exploring the world of kitchen appliances with us and picked up some valuable vocabulary along the way.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and we'll be back soon with more exciting topics to help you on your English learning journey. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye everyone.
See you next time.